Good night, this is Fumi Sleepy Time Stories. Tonight's bedtime story is about to begin.
Once upon a time, there was a poor man who was so destitute that he could no longer support his only son. The boy said to him, "Dear father, our life is too miserable, and I've become a burden to you. I wish to leave home and try my luck, to earn my own food." The father gave him his blessing, and with great sorrow watched him go. At that time, a great king was at war, and the young man joined the army. On the battlefield, he arrived just as a fierce fight was underway. His comrades were falling all around him, and when the commander was killed, the others began to flee. But the young man stood tall and cried, "We must not let our homeland perish." Inspired by his bravery, the soldiers rallied behind him and won the battle. When the king heard that this young man had led the victory, he rewarded him with riches and honors, making him the most respected man in the land. The king had a daughter, beautiful beyond compare, but with a strange condition. She would only marry a man who promised to be buried alive beside her if she died first. "If he truly loves me," she said, "he won't want to live without me." She vowed the same for herself. No man dared to propose, until the young hero, smitten by her beauty, boldly asked for her hand. "Do you know what you must vow?" asked the king. "If she dies before you, you must die with her." "I understand," he replied, "but I love her so dearly that I do not fear death." The king consented, and they were married in a splendid celebration. For a time, they lived in happiness. But then the young wife fell gravely ill, and no doctor could save her. She died, and her husband was reminded of his vow. Though filled with fear, he had no way to escape. Guards were stationed at every exit. On the day of her burial, he was led into the tomb with her. The door was sealed shut with a heavy bolt. Inside, beside the coffin, stood a table with 4 candles, 4 loaves of bread, and 4 bottles of wine, meant to sustain him until he starved to death. He grieved terribly, eating only a little each day to delay the end. One day, a snake slithered from a corner of the tomb toward the princess's corpse. Thinking it meant harm, the man drew his sword and cut the snake into 3 pieces. Soon after, another snake appeared, saw the first one dead, and returned. Only to come back again carrying 3 green leaves in its mouth. It placed a leaf on each wound, rejoining the pieces. Instantly the snake came back to life, and the 2 snakes slipped away, leaving the magical leaves behind. The man suddenly wondered if the same leaves could bring his wife back. He placed 1 leaf on her mouth and 1 on each eye. Her blood began to flow. Color returned to her cheeks, and she opened her eyes, alive once more. He gave her wine and bread until she regained her strength. Then he knocked and shouted at the tomb door until the guards heard him and rushed to inform the king. When the tomb was opened and the king saw them both alive and well, he was filled with joy. The young man gave the 3 magical leaves to his servant and said, "Keep these with you at all times. We may need them again someday." But something had changed. The woman, though once brought back to life by her husbands, Love seemed to feel nothing for him anymore. Later, the young man wished to visit his old father across the sea. They boarded a ship, but during the voyage, the wife fell in love with the captain and forgot her husband's love and sacrifice. One night, while the man slept, she and the captain lifted him and threw him overboard. "We'll say he died on the journey," she whispered, "and I'll praise you to my father, so that he'll make you my husband and heir to the throne." But the faithful servant had witnessed it all. He took a small boat, pulled the drowned man from the sea, and placed the magical leaves on his eyes and mouth. The man was brought back to life once again. The two rowed day and night and reached the kingdom before the ship. The king was surprised to see them and heard the terrible truth. "I cannot believe my daughter would do such a thing," he said, "but the truth will reveal itself." One hid the two in a chamber. Soon the ship arrived, and the daughter came to the palace with a sorrowful face. "My husband fell ill and died," she said. "If not for the kind captain, I'd be lost." "Then let the dead return to life," the king said, and opened the chamber. The young man stepped out. The wife fell to her knees in shock, begging for forgiveness. But the king declared, "He died for you, brought you back to life, and you repaid him with betrayal. You deserve no mercy." She and the captain were placed in a boat with holes in its bottom, pushed out to sea, and soon sank beneath the crashing waves.